Hi everyone, welcome back to the channeling series, and we are on the laws of manifestation, right? Today we're talking about law of inspired action. Okay, so what does that mean? Now, number one, we can be very aligned, we can have all the right energies, but if you're not taking any action towards it, right? Then whatever you want, whatever you want to manifest, obviously will take time to come to you, right? Or you need to open up avenues for something to even show up, right? For example, if you want to manifest a relationship, and you have an account on, say, Tinder or whatever apps, but you're not actually going and meeting people, then how will you meet the person, right? So similarly, if you want to manifest, a car, but you're not even actually going and looking at cars, or if you're not looking at, the kind of car you want, or talking to dealers, whatever, then how will you get the car? Isn't it? So you need to take some action. Firstly, obviously, to make the money, then to actually go and get the car, right? So that's one aspect of inspired action. All right. However, when you're taking action, it's not just any action. Okay. So inspired action means, yes, of course, a prereq is to take action. However, it needs to be inspired action, meaning it needs to be aligned, it needs to be energetically aligned. Just taking any action, or just by working hard and putting in a lot of hours and always being busy, might not get you to where you want. Have you met people who are constantly busy, right? Who seem to be exhausted, who seem to have burnt out. However, they are not able to, and even then, they're not able to manifest what they want, right? So in that case, they are probably putting in a lot of effort into the wrong direction, right? Because if you are taking, so think of an example, right? Think of being on a boat, right, and being in a river and going with the stream, with the flow. Have you seen that when you're with the flow, you don't really have to put much effort, right? Sometimes even just by being in that, that zone of that flow of water, you can actually be taken from one area to another quickly, like in an instant. You don't even realize, right? However, if you are against the flow, right? Sometimes even if you're putting in a lot of effort, you might not move even an inch, isn't it? It'll take extra effort, right? So the same happens with putting in a lot of action. And if you're not seeing results, you need to kind of double check. You need to start looking into, are you moving in the right direction? Because with aligned action, right, you don't even have to put in a lot of work. It's literally energetically works, right? You seen people who the two students, right? One student is working very hard, and by the way, I was one of those students who would just keep studying, start like just keep learning and reading and all of that. Like in Hindi they say ratta marna. I mean, I don't think everything was that, but I was very like, I like all the hours of the day has to have to go into that, right? However, I would see with one of my best friends growing up, she would not study at all. And she would just like probably go through her notes, and she would, always be on top of her class. So there she's taking aligned action. And, if I'm putting in so much effort and I'm not getting anything in return, this means that I'm moving in the wrong direction, right? There needs to be more, maybe more awareness, more alignment, right? How do you bring in that alignment in your life, right? If you think that you are putting in a lot of effort, you feel like, oh my God, I'm constantly busy, but I'm still not meeting the right person, but I'm still not manifesting the relationship, but I'm still not maintaining good health, for example, nowadays when I go to the gym, I'm following a certain this thing app, and based on that, I have to just do, I think, 10 or some few basically exercises, and there are certain weights to it, right? And so I just follow the app and I do it, right? And so I go in and I leave like in half an hour, right? And everybody, like today somebody asked me, so you done like so quickly, like how, and I just told them that, I need to be very focused. I need to have this, I follow this app, and it's not about me spending a lot of hours in the gym, right? It has to be consistent effort, but with the number of weights I put in, it needs to just be aligned with my energy, my body, right? And I'll see the benefit. And I checked my weight recently, I think last time or even today. I don't remember today. But I've already lost like a couple of kilos. And last year I remember I was spending so many hours and I was just stuck on that one particular weight. So point is that if you take aligned action, right, you will see instant results. You'll see results basically, right? And if you feel like you're putting in a lot of effort and you're doing, you're into the doing and not into the being, then you need to reconsider the direction that you're in, right? How do you take aligned action? Number one, right? In order to come in that state of flow. Number one, if you feel like you're in the wrong direction, how do you know you're in the wrong direction? You're not seeing results, right? You're not seeing any thing materialize, basically, what you're moving towards, right? So, number one, pause. Okay. Then, deep breathing. Deep breathing is a must, right? It's also on my website. I've put in the box breathing, and there are so many, you know, breathing techniques that you can do. So, do that, right? Second is movement. Bring in movement in your life, right? Movement brings and creates change, space in your nervous system, right? So if you feel like there is no space in the nervous system, sometimes you feel burnt out. Like all of those, if you're seeing those, triggers, then movement is important. Could be going for a walk, of course, going to the gym, any tai chi, so many things, dance, so many things you can do. So bring in that movement also in your life. Okay, where is it that there is stagnancy? And then now ask yourself, if I were the if something you want to do, right, and you want suppose your aim is to maybe manifest a relationship, right? So how would my best version uh respond right now, or what would my best version do right now? So if you were that person already who has the relationship, how would they be behaving? Ask yourself that question and see what answer comes out, right? See, maybe they are more patient, maybe they are more consistent, maybe they show up every day, maybe whatever it is. So then you basically, by when you ask that question to yourself, you bring yourself in awareness and you make that yourself that version of you who already has it. Okay, just by asking this question. For instance, today I had to go to the gym and it was raining cats and dogs, right? And the first instinct is, let's not go today, right? However, I have been listening to my coach, and I've been um, in that zone, right, of taking aligned action. And I just felt like if I don't do this today, I'm gonna go into a spiral of, complaints, shame, guilt, and I don't want that, right? So I choose this. So when you're in that aligned action, you just take that action, you feel good, and the results also show up immediately sometimes, right? So number one was you pause, then you go into deep breathing and movement. Then you realize, you ask yourself, what would my best version do? And then you take that action, whatever you need to take, right? In that, what happens is you move from a direction, the wrong direction that you were in, into the right direction, and you take aligned action. All right. So that is the law of inspired action. I hope it made sense to all of you. I will be back tomorrow with another law. Signing off, Anisha, from Zara Healings.